Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc. Hi everybody and welcome to today's episode. It is a double header classic car day today, and I'll tell you why. Sometimes I run across cool old vehicles and I'll make an offer and then you never hear anything. And that's kind of what happened today. I didn't hear anything for like a year and then they said come and get it. Now, I could have backed out and said, hey listen, it's been like a year, I don't want it, but I felt like I had to stand up and I had to buy it since I made the offer. So I ended up with this. It's a 1972 Volkswagen Combi van. Now, I bought this from the original owner. If you can believe it, that's original paint on that vehicle. It's rust-free, really great shape. There's a couple things on it we'll do a tour of that and I'll show you. So I ended up with that, but on the exact same day, well, last week, I had another call back on a car that I was looking at, and this got delivered too. It's a 1970 Alfa Romeo Berlina 5-speed, and this fellow had owned it since 1980, and I went on a pick to his house, I want to say about a month or two ago, and he didn't have really much for me to buy there, but the car was in the garage covered in dust. In fact, I have a little clip I'll throw in of how we found it. Anyway, so both the Alfa Romeo and the Volkswagen came home today. I have no idea where I'm going to store these cars right now, but I do want to do a little bit of work, probably to the Volkswagen first, because it's got a lot of stuff bolted onto the roof of it. I'll give you a tour. There's some extra stuff that's been put on. This is actually a bike rack. It has bicycle mounts that mount on the front of it. I'm debating whether to leave that on or not. It might come in handy if I ever want to take a bike somewhere. But this probably put on later, like in the 80s, just a regular sort of roof rack. It looks out of place. It's got that nice tin top roof underneath there. That's got to come off. He put an air conditioner. There's an AC unit attached to the front, which is probably going to be pretty handy for camping. The awning, well, that's still a functioning awning, and it's got the clamps, the bars that go on it there. And the back is where the bed is, and that actually is a pop-up. And I'm going to try popping it up for the first time. I've never actually seen it in the up position. Got a little ladder on the back here, and this is for a jerry can, and that's for a little propane tank. So it really is set up for camping. You come to check it out, Jason? Yeah. So it's functional, but certainly not the prettiest of camp-rise conversions I've seen. Not the worst either. I mean, generally, it's a normal Volkswagen on the lower part with a little bit of stuff going on up top. So I think later today I'm going to pop this off just to kind of, I know some of you at home might be saying, well, it's handy, you should leave it there to put stuff on. Trust me, every ounce of weight I can save off of this thing will help it to actually do proper highway speed. But it drove perfect on the way here. I'll show you the inside. It's a little fridge, and you could actually stand up in there. Yeah. 6'4", so the clearance between there and the top, fairly tall person could actually stand. Cupboards, little storage compartments, and it's basically right out of the 70s. So when they bought this brand new, it was just sort of a regular van, and they did the conversion themselves. And so the cabinets, the orange carpeting, everything is right from the early 70s, and surprisingly in very decent shape, including that orange carpeted roof. So I'm probably just going to leave this all as it is because it's definitely of the era and in very good condition. But yeah, the usual spots where there's rust, there's none, because again, it's an original paint, very clean vehicle. Even these little decals down the side are still there and in good shape. This is the bar that goes in there, and there's a little table behind the seat that pops into place. See the table there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna see, I think, he was walking me through all the stuff that this did. It full on turns into a proper camper. That should go in. Is it thread in? Or maybe oh no, it should just go in on an angle maybe. And then the seat would come out. Let's see if we can flip it forward. In fact, what kind of shape are the seats? You always worry when you see these seat covers on here. But no, the seats actually look like they're good underneath all these covers. There, we figured the table out. That little prop rod goes in the hole down below. And you've got this early 70s floral Formica little tabletop. And that's when you have the awning out. You're at the campground. You have a little tent around there. And, you know, you could have your pot of water. You're cutting up your veggies and stuff on this and getting it ready to go in your tiny little fridge up top here. So pretty neat. I mean, it's a neat idea. There's also another table that clamps in up in the front. Now they had this in here and it was super annoying when I was driving, so I took it out, but they had that set up as well. It's like a real life transformer, this vehicle. So that's basically this little Volkswagen bus in a nutshell. I'm going to come back in a couple minutes and I'm going to take that rack off and see what the seats look like underneath the covers. But I got to show you this. The other car that came home today. This is a 1970 Alfa Romeo Berlina. It's one of the last affordable Alfa Romeos from the 60s or 70s, these Berlina models. The gentleman I got this from has owned it since 1980. And he was an Italian fellow named Mario. And he drove this car as his daily car. When his wife and him were expecting their first child, this was their daily driver. He tells me it's really good on gas. The seats are in phenomenal shape. Actually, overall, the interior is not bad. I can see the retaining trim for the shift boot is off and the radio is out of it. But other than that, it's pretty decent. I have no idea if it will start up for me. See, the keys are right there, which is good. This is a little annoying. There's supposed to be like a little retainer clip around here that holds that boot in place. It looks a little unfinished without it. So if it's not in the glove box or... Oh. Huh. It is. It's in the glove box. Okay. Well, I'll quit my complaining and I'll just get to work on putting some of this stuff back together. This is under there. So there's a few little parts that were taken off. I'll have to put back on again. There we go. Something like that. Somebody was doing a little work on the steering column. So some assembly required. Nothing I can't handle. I am going to pop the hood though. See if the release is in here. Speakers are out. Maybe they had this all apart because somebody took the radio, the factory radio, out of it. Just a tiny little thing would have been in there. These look like they're... Those are the lenses. The cover for the lens. One needs a piece of glass. Okay. Let's check under the hood. There we go. We got the hood opened up. And fairly tidy underneath here, but you can see it's got a lot of grease and dirt and grime. That should hopefully all clean up. I'm going to soak it in some cleaner. See an aftermarket fuel pump on there. But that is your traditional Alfa Romeo engine. I believe Enzo Ferrari had something to do with the design of this engine. Enzo Ferrari used to work for Alfa before he started Ferrari. So there's a little bit of history there. But all in all, it's all there. I'm going to charge up the battery while I'm washing this all down, and then we'll see if we can get this one to start up and see if we can move it around a little bit. Now, I've never actually used this as a degreaser before, but it came with the last house clear out I did. It's brand new, so waste not, want not. We'll give it a bit of a spray in here, let it soak for a bit, and see how this does, how it washes off. So before we got all this kind of dirt and grease and a decade of stuff in here, we'll let this foam sit in there, and then we'll see what the after looks like. Well, stuff actually worked pretty well. I didn't have to scrub at all. All I did is I sprayed that degreaser on and washed it off with a pressure washer. Now, there is some paint that's discolored and stuff right there because that's brake fluid will eat your paint away. So I'll have to do some touch up in that area. But all the other spaces where it was really gross and grimy are now spotlessly clean. Now it's just the waiting game for the battery to charge. I guess while I'm waiting for the battery, I can get the rest of this thing rinsed off before I can polish it. Well, my battery chargers, and it's almost there, it's 90%. I'm gonna let that engine bay dry out. Car is a nice 10-footer. It looks good from 10 feet away, and then you get up closer and you see little nicks and scratches and stuff, which I'm hoping some of it will buff out. Overall, this car is not in bad condition at all. It doesn't look like it's rusty or has a lot for filler on it, so it should clean up okay. And here's hoping that it runs and drives all right. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Well, that's airing out. Let's get some of this ugly business off the front of the Volkswagen. There's just way too much going on here with the extra racks and bars and roof racks. It's just a little messy. So we're gonna get that off first, and then I'll probably take the rack off the front. A little bit of work to do, but it'll clean it up nicely. Jason is getting the final brackets off the front. That, by taking the bar off and the majority of the roof rack off, for the time being, I had to leave the back of it on because it's actually supporting the weight of the air conditioner. It took about 100 pounds, I'm not kidding, 100 pounds of weight off the vehicle, which on a Volkswagen is substantial. Well, that's better, but it still looks like it was owned in the 70s by Mad Max. Not a fan of all that roof stuff going on up there. Have to think of a solution for that, because otherwise that thing's in pristine condition. As for the Alfa, well, the battery's in. Now, we just see if it has a little bit of go left in it. Let's try the key. Okay, that sticker says fueling on. Well, I hear the fuel pump. Aha! Look at that. We have power. Power! Ooh. Also have a empty tank of gas. All right, let's see if she moves. Well, we have success. The car drives. The brakes are very sticky right now though. Pull it in here so it can cool off so it can be polished. Going very slow because I don't want to run into anything else that's in here. Okay, so this is apparently the setup for camping with the awning. You've got the awning out the side. I guess I could straighten that one bar out a little bit, but you get the idea. They go in these little hooks over here. And then if you look way up, you'll find a Jason. How is it up there?
Smallish.
Well, you're also jumbo-ish.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, when it's all set up, it's actually kind of neat. It's got the little striped tent up top. Looks like a circus tent. looks like the clowns have pulled into town with their circus mobile. But it's still pretty neat, I gotta say. Okay, well, my son Steven has been polishing and cleaning this car. I did a great job. It's looking much, much better. A lot of the scuffs and imperfections did come out. As for the trunk, well, found an inexpensive solution for the missing trunk liner. I actually just found a outdoor sort of carpet, which is thick and heavy, and it covers that fine, and we've got a suitcase in there. It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than it was. I did source the missing trim for the back. There's supposed to be script that says Alfa Romeo right there, and then 1750. Unfortunately, that wasn't in the car, but I did find some on eBay. The engine bay cleaned up nicely. All that grease and grime, that remover worked actually quite well. So I guess I'd recommend that WD-40 grease remover. I mean, you know, we give it a wipe down after, but it's pretty spotless in there now. I guess maybe a little bit down in there I gotta do, but pretty good. Just charging up the battery, and I'm gonna try moving the car outside. The brakes are a little sticky, so I'm gonna try applying and taking the e-brake on and off a bit, see if I can free things up. without having to do any kind of dismantling. Oh, and I had these, it had holes for fog lamps on the front, and I just happened to have these 1970s Marshall fog lamps sitting in my cupboard over there that I was saving for a rainy day. And well, I guess today's that rainy day, so we put some, too many cars here, I'm walking all over myself. We put some vintage fog lamps on the front too to give it sort of that little rally look. Anyway, let's get the hood closed up and we'll take it outside. Well, that cleaned up pretty nicely. This car had been sitting for about the last decade or so. We'll have to put some new gas in there because it's a little unhappy with the gas that's in the tank right now, and rightfully so. Gas does degrade over time. Fog lamps look good on there. Paintwork looks very presentable. It's actually a fairly rare little car, and they did use these in rally racing events, and but Berlina just means sedan. So Alfa made a sedan series for years, but look at this dash. Nice wood trim. The gauge is pointed towards you. The shifter in an unusual spot, kind of midway up rather than down below. But that interior is pretty well mint. Not a flaw, not an issue with that interior. So I think this is turning out to be a nice little car. I'm gonna park it back inside now. So that's it. With a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of luck, we were able to actually sell the Alfa Romeo. It's gone, and the profit almost covered the entire purchase price of the bus. So there's really no rush to try and get rid of this. And I will admit, it's kind of grown on me in the last little while. You know, it's got a quirky interior. The roof business that I wasn't a big fan of, when it's all set up, is actually kind of cool, like a circus tent. So there is some charm. Also, the other thing is that the condition of this thing is absolutely fabulous. Fits right in with the other shiny cars in here. It's a very well-maintained vehicle, and that's about how you want to find them. So fun day, a fun adventure, a couple of cool vehicles. I've got my parking space back now. I had the Alfa parked there. It's got the old Ferrari parked there now, and everything's looking shiny and things are going good. So thanks for watching today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you all soon, and as always, bye for now. Bye, everybody.